afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello and welcome to another episode of Big Conversations with T. Today is Saturday, April 22nd, 2023. I'd like to say thank you to Tayo and Dotun for taking some time out of their very busy afternoon to record this session with us. Good afternoon, Tayo.
Good afternoon, Miss Purple.
And good afternoon, Dotun. Thank you again very much for the interruption.
Good afternoon, madam. Thank you for having us on this one.
For sure. Now, across Canada today, this past week, people have been celebrating National Volunteer Week from April 22nd to 23rd. And I know both of you, as your primary company, Dexteritas, and Tara being the executive director of LCCMedia Foundation, you have a thing or two to say about National Volunteer Week.
Yes, I do. I have a lot to say about National Volunteer Week, but I think the first and I think the only thing I'm going to say here is thank you. I really would like to show and share my deep appreciation and gratitude to volunteers generally. They really do make the world go round. And even to the volunteers that have assisted us in the tax clinic. I just want to say thank you. You guys have been great. You've showed up, you've been there, you've dealt with all sorts of different situations, and you've shown up again. There are times when things will happen in the clinic and I'm like, are they gonna come back? And then they come back because you know what? They want to volunteer, they have a heart of gold. So I say thank you to all our volunteers and all the volunteers out there. The work you do is truly valuable. Without you, certain things won't work. And so please know that you are loved and you are appreciated. Dotun, did you want to say anything towards our volunteers?
I have a lot.
Well, sorry,
Okay, go ahead,
I just wanted to chip in to say that for people who do not know what exactly you do with your staff with Dexteritas and what Tayo does at the foundation, Dotun, could you please give us an insight into how powerful your volunteers have been and how important volunteering is to the community at large? Dotun.
Actually, good afternoon and thanks for having me once again. Haven't gotten involved in not-for-profit world in the last 2 years. I've seen the power of the community. Working whether the alignment is as a result of your home country or whether it's as a result of professional experience or competence or aspiration, as the case may be. I have been there seeing firsthand the power of volunteerism. And actually, you know what? I can't stop myself. I need to mention names. Ty, I'm going to name names right now. I want to thank the guys at the Africa Center, Sharif, Sandra, Emmanuel, Shamim, mischievous Shamim, and Eve, everybody who has supported us making the tax clinic happen. We really want to thank you. I want to thank BCW for giving us days there, Madam Jean Leman. Thank you very much. Thank you very much too. I think Tessie is her name, right? Yes, thank you very much, Tessie. I want to thank the guys at the Calgary Full Gospel Church who have been our host, Pastor Dale, Val. You know, you've made your lobby a mess in the last 3 weeks, 6 weeks, but thank you for tolerating us. Sam, thank you. Ada, Okemute,
Mayowa,
Doma, David, everyone that has shown up to volunteer, we really, really want to thank you. Because guess what? The numbers that we're going to be announcing at the end of the month are strictly the work of your hands. I want to say thank you once again. Thank you for making it work. And and other volunteers that I've seen across the community groups, there are a number of things that are great about volunteerism. One, the results that you see on the back end. Then two, the heartwarming feeling, that feel-good factor that comes with being able to just do something for somebody else. Whether you get something out of it or not being the question. Those have been things that continue to spur me on and continue to make us, do what we do. I know I didn't answer your question, but that's where I'll stop for now.
Okay, I'm about to give the show to you, but across the world, across the planet, April 22nd is also known as Earth Day. And I know when we all woke up, we saw what the Duchess of Success tweeted, but what she put out, what Actual Foundation is doing, that's just set a beautiful tone and present to what everyone should be doing today for Earth Day. So your thoughts, Tayo, concerning what your organization, what you are doing for Earth Day, which is today?
Honestly, right now, I am knee deep in taxes. So I'm not gonna right now. I haven't thought about Earth Day. Do I do things consistently in my week, in my day, in my year to do my share? Yes. Do I believe in the efforts to live clean and to make the world, the earth inhabitable for our future generations? Of course I do. But today, have I done anything at all for Earth Day? No. No, no, no. Dotun,
Oh, no,
over
no,
to
no. We've done things that are certain. There are two things that are certain in this life: death and taxes.
you.
We spent the whole day mired in taxes. That's good enough for now.
All right, enough about Earth Day. Sorry to have put you on the spot. I just wanted to say
Hey,
thank you to, I know she'll probably never hear this, Meghan Markle, Duchess of Success, for all the work they do and for setting the right tone for the rest of us. You have a show for us today. What can we expect?
well, today our show is about entrepreneurship and building resilience in entrepreneurship. And I guess today my tone is particularly directed towards ethnic, maybe entrepreneurs, newcomers who are trying to be entrepreneurs, and some of the mindsets with which we have built, or we've strongholds mindsets that we have in our minds about business and business in Canada, and how if we don't change that, we cannot move on to the next level in terms of business success. So that is the show we have for you today. So, what is resilience in business? I guess that's the first um, definition that I want to talk about. And so, that's what is resilience in business? I guess I should ask you.
Resilience generally is just the ability to endure. Will I call it staying power? Will I call it the ability to, in the face of adversity and difficulty, or even in the face of warmth and ease, stay consistent and do what you know to do. It's just being like basically like a rock, right? Whether the sun is shining, the rain is snowing, the rain is falling, it's snowing, the wind is blowing. If the rock is big enough, it just stays there, right? And that's really the capacity to just be there and be consistent really is a significant contributor to long-term success in anything, and definitely in business and enterprise.
Well, I agree with you. It's basically the successful ability to be able to navigate crisis, setback, challenges, new opportunities within your sphere, right? And to know that these things are happening, right? If you're going to be in business, by now you'd know that business is not for the faint-hearted, right? It's totally different from going to work, coming back, and after 2 weeks you get a paycheck. Now being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, right? You're responsible for the marketing, for the sales, you're responsible for your numbers, you're responsible for finance, you're responsible for credits. You're responsible having a family life and be normal in the process of it. You're responsible for giving back to your community. You're responsible for, some of you might have employees, right? People that work with you, day in, day out, and you're responsible for salaries, and you're also responsible for charitable donations. Sorry, I meant statutory deductions, not charitable donations. I meant to say statutory deductions. So you're responsible for all these things, and more often than not, you see burnout. People come, and I guess maybe I've seen some people over the past couple of days, and they're talking about, why am I in this business, or can I make it in this business, or why did I even get here, and all that. And then you realize that there's a bit more resilience necessary to succeed and to pull through. And it's very important to begin to talk about the need for resilience.
So Ty, I really want to highlight something that I have seen and has played out over and over again. The idea of entrepreneurship is attractive
It's very
for a
sexy.
number of reasons. You took the words out of my mouth. It's glamorous. It's when you go out and you introduce yourself I'm XYZ, founder of ABC. We've been in operations for the last 10 months. We've raised $10 million. We operate out of 10 cities in 10 glass houses.
And
But
you're
you
the
know what?
CEO.
And you're the CEO and founder. And maybe you're you're not the CEO anymore. You're not chairman and co-founder. You know, you have these beautiful titles that create all manner of ethereal ideas in people's minds. But guess what? If you're gonna wear that tag, that badge that says CEO and founder, there's work to be done. It's not by waking up in the morning and saying I'm CEO and founder, and that's that. You're gonna wake up in the morning and look at your business plan. I'm gonna say, okay, which part of it am I dealing with today? Am I dealing with people? Am I dealing with marketing? Am I dealing with my strategic plan? Am I looking forward 2 years, 5 years from now to say, how do I stay alive? Or am I looking forward to addressing a funding gap that has showed up in my business, which I know that if I don't take care of in the next 4 weeks, we are done, i.e., done, i.e., game over, right? So there is a need to do the work. And part of what makes enterprise is the fact that in doing the work, you build character, you build competence, and you build resilience. You just tell yourself that, hey, you know what? This is my goal. This is the game I'm playing. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm trying to achieve. And come hail or high water, I'm going to get it done. Period. Right? The capacity to do that is what is called staying power. But the ability to stay and keep doing arises from a fundamental piece that many of us miss. And
What
that's
is that?
the power of vision. When you're able to look forward and say, in a year's time, this is where I want to be. In 2 years' time, this is where we want to be. In 10 years' time, this is where we're going to be. And this is the path that I believe will take us there. And then you stay on that path. The path may be straight in your design. In reality, it's going to be wiggly. They're wiggly and wobbly. It'll be ups and downs. You think you're going north and find yourself having to go south first before you begin to head back north, right? That ability to sit down and design a vision alongside a plan that gets us there is one of the primary killers of entrepreneurs and enterprise, not just among ethnic people, among all peoples. But I think ethnic peoples are particularly affected by this malaise, which impacts our ability to just stay.
So I guess my question is, what role does knowledge play in building resilience, right? And what role does knowledge play in building resilience for the entrepreneur, right? There are so we're speaking to a group of bankers yesterday, and one of the first things they talked about is people show up and say, I want credit, I want you to fund my business and give me 250,000. And they say, go bring numbers. And people are like, oh, just trust me. I know this business will work. I just know because I've done business in 3 different countries and it has worked. And so I guess the point I'm trying to make is I'm trying to link 3 concepts together, with resilience, is what role does knowledge actually can you achieve resilience in a vacuum? Can you do it all by yourself? I guess that's a question that maybe one of the reasons why people don't stay or why people that experience burnout is at what point do you start reaching out for help? At what point do you hire an accountant? At what point do you hire an HR person? At what point do you realize that your vision is bigger than just you, right?
So let me I want to address that from a perspective that I have. So as a visionary, being a principal driver gets lonely pretty quickly because you find out that even when you build a team, members of your team are carrying different parts of the vision. Your HR guy is dealing with people and compensation and salaries and performance development and learning and education. Your strategic guy is looking at the strategic plan that you put together on a napkin at dinner one day and trying to convert it into an idea that, stretches out 5, 10 years and becomes a multi-million-dollar project. Whoever you are consulting with on tax is looking at, okay, how's the organization going to be tax efficient, and how are you personally going to be tax efficient? But guess who's carrying all three on his head?
The visioner, but then that's
Exact. So the point I'm making is it possible for you as the primary as the point of the arrow, at the point of the spear, to be that person, that keeps the ship together and keeps us all going? Oh, yes. Will you experience burnout if you try to do it all by yourself? Yes, you will. Does it have to be that way? No, it doesn't. Does talking to people mean you are not resilient? Of course not. Resilience just means that you are consistent. You are staying focused and driven and continuing to pursue the same goal. Now, it is expected that you will build a team. It is necessary that you build a team. It is imperative that you surround yourself with the skills and the competencies and the capacities required to succeed. However, do we do it? That's a question for another day.
well, well, because when you look at resilience and the fact that it affects and it feeds into a lot, like, even the mindsets, around entrepreneurship and how to succeed being a small business owner, and so that you don't come out, because you can, being a small business owner, being an entrepreneurship, it's a rabbit hole if you're not careful. You have this dream, and if you're not properly managed, you come out in way more debt. How many, at least I know in the US, the way their bankruptcy law works, they can file it and keep filing your bankruptcy, kind of sort of like that, right? Canada is a little different and steeper, but the point is you can get into bankruptcy pretty quickly as a small business owner if you're not careful, because like you're always chasing your tail and chasing your tail and chasing your tail. And the question with resilience is, can you be adaptive? Oh, is that a word? Adaptable to
Adaptable is more like it, yeah.
adaptable. I'm making up words now. Can you be adaptable to um new business, to the changing, like, you look at COVID, for example. When COVID happened, people were short of alcohol and all that. Beer companies started making alcohol, right? Even, they started making alcohol for hand sanitizer and all that. Look at different opportunities that arose, you know, but that is from even staying, that is from being resilient enough to think about it. But for you to even to get to that point, your setup has to be there. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah, when you say setup, I'm thinking more mindset. You have to be in that headspace
yes, you have to be in
where
that.
where you are nimble and you are adaptable,
Yes.
where you are able to see the reality of ground and know that, okay, you know what? I know I was going to go to point B from point A, but I can't get to point B right now based on the realities. I need to head to C first and then track back to B before I can make progress.
Can you be resilient in a vacuum?
Can you be resilient in a vacuum? The resilience in itself speaks to the ability to stay in power. And once you start to talk about staying power, that means that there are environmental factors. So you can't just be resilient by yourself. There's something happening to you, there's something happening for you, there's something happening in you, and it's your ability to use to ensure that what is in you does not poison you such that you lose face, and what is outside you does not poison you such that you stop going.
What are the biggest I guess mental, because in my mind, before you can be successful at anything, you'd have seen it. If you see it, you what you see. Basically, you can have what you see, right? And so when you have a mindset that is not so, okay, you can have what you see. That's my belief, right? That's my prevailing belief. So my point is this: are there strongholds, especially in the ethnic community, especially the Black community, that challenges
Yeah,
entrepreneurship,
if we are talking about strongholds, let's speak to some of them right away. There's the
mental?
idea that the idea that you show up in town and
Yeah,
the only
blurry.
jobs are no, don't worry, it's the camera will adjust itself. The only jobs that are available to you are menial jobs, and the only way you can get a job is if you go to the warehouse to work, or if you um that basically saying you can't get back into your professional
Mm-hmm,
career. And that is in itself, for some people, is a stronghold.
mm-hmm,
Yes, I agree that Canada is one of the most protectionist countries in the world.
mm-hmm,
Because guess what? To get into any kind of profession here, you must have some kind of licensure, which requires you to jump hoops, pay for exams, join an association, and the association will issue a license which will allow you to work.
mm-hmm,
Recognizing that is a reality. Yes, it can be it can be challenging getting back into your career.
mm-hmm.
However, is it possible? Of course it is. Are there examples? Definitely, right? So they
The,
now the same way there are mental blocks around professional careers and getting back into your career. There's also the mental block of, you know what, I wasn't born here. This is not my land. I don't know people here. The people I met here, I met as an adult, right? So the guys who are my age mates that have contemporaries that they went to high school, middle school, elementary school with, who are downtown as CFOs, those guys are going to look for their guys, not me. So there's that mindset that I can't plug into the community and connect the way the guys who've been here for 30, 40 years can. And
so then
that's something.
how do we pull that down, that particular
Oh,
mindset?
easy, easy. Just get out there, go meet people, particularly in this world of social media. Commit to spending an hour on LinkedIn every day, just reaching out to professionals in your field and saying, "Hey, how you doing? This is me. This is what I do, and I'd like to meet you."
Before you
Canadians love coffee. They love coffee.
But before you go, should you be prepared? What role does knowledge play in building resilience? I guess that was my earlier point in terms of how do you prepare yourself for success? Because the process works, right?
The process definitely works, Tayo. And the reason why I wanna why this is important is this. When you start to talk about knowledge, people are going to say, oh, I need to sit down and, study hard. If you're having coffee with somebody, just check out the person's LinkedIn profile. Where are they? What do they do? Who are their people? What are their interests? What have they been posting about? What have they been reading about? What posts have they been liking and sharing?
Mm-hmm.
That it helps you to find sufficient ground to hold a conversation that's going to run for 30 minutes at least. Now, the truth is, if you and them have a common ground, you have a guaranteed 1 hour coffee ahead of you, free of charge. Whether the person is new in the space, whether you are new in the space, and the person is an experienced veteran, or both of you are kind of like mid-sized, maybe like intermediate levels, have spent 3, 4 years in the space, and you just want to have a good conversation. The fact that you've done that basic thing and you can talk about the subject matter that you want to inquire about is key to making a success of those kind of meetings. But more important than that is the fact that Canadians would like to talk about themselves. So when you reach out to somebody on LinkedIn and say, hey, can we meet up at a coffee shop, or can we have a virtual coffee over LinkedIn? 7 times out of 10, you would get a yes. Because you give the person the opportunity to share their own story, and people like to talk about themselves.
Okay, what role does coaching and mentorship um play in building resilience, building a stronger mindset, tearing down some of the strongholds that is hindering, business owners, individuals, career people?
I'm going to take us back to the good old Chinese movie that we used to watch back in the day.
Teacher.
Teacher. Kill my mother, you kill my father. Oh. The beautiful thing about those movies is this. Forgive me if that sounded like a stereotype. That's not the intention. I apologize. But the beautiful thing about those movies is this. There was never a point where a self-made star was on display. It was either the star was in training and then they lost their trainer and they had to go after knowledge to become the star, or they trained and trained and trained and trained under their evil master and they had a good heart, and then they now defeated the evil master with their good and became the good benevolent master. But all those movies made it clear that if you are going to become anything in this world of martial arts, you always had to have a master, a mentor, a coach. And I dare say in the world of business, you really don't have a choice. As much as you may say, oh yeah, I have my MBA, I studied, I understand my engineering, I build and break stuff all the time, I know what I'm doing. Guess what? That day is going to come that you're going to realize that you're in way over your head.
So, did you guys, I don't know if you guys saw the movie Creed, and I don't remember if it's Creed 2 or Creed 3. And there was a time where I think
that means you've seen all three, eh?
Apollos,
go ahead and show
yes.
off. You are free to tell us that you've seen all 1, 2, and 3.
Well,
it's fine.
I mean,
Michael B. Jordan looks that good. It's fine.
Well, it did.
I'm messing with you now.
Well, it did look. I had to see 3 back to back. But the point is, there was a time, and I don't remember if it's 2 or 3, where Michael B. Jordan goes and fights this opponent. He wasn't supposed to fight, and then Sylvester Stallone refused to train him for the fight. And
that's part 2.
But
yep.
Oh, so you've seen it too?
Of course.
Michael B. Jordan look that good. So, and so Sylvester Stallone refuses to train Michael B. Jordan for the fight, and of course, he goes to fight, and it was really bad. I think he breaks multiple ribs, and and he lost the title. I think they lose the title, and then he goes back to, and of course, Apollos is upset. And then eventually Sylvester Stallone decides, agrees to train him, and he says one key phrase. He goes, "I have to train you for the fight, the one coming up, not just to be a regular fighter." You think the boxing they've been doing is all the same, right? But there was that point when Sylvester Stallone says to him, "I have to train you for this, but you're not going to beat that guy the same way you beat all others." And I'm not sure who he was fighting at this point in time. If
he was fighting Ivan Drago's son.
Oh, wow. Look at your detail.
That was part 2. He was fighting Ivan Drago's son.
Yes.
And he went to where they call Hell's Gate or something like that.
And trained them
specifically. Specifically, yes.
Mentored them, coached him, trained them specifically for this kind of fight. And that really stuck with me. And I realized that for each aspect of our lives, we need to go find the specific kind of training that we need. That you've been doing business for the past 10 years, or that you've been a accountant for the past 15 years, or that you've been a doctor for the past 20 years, is sufficient when it is sufficient. But you have to develop the ability to know when it's no longer sufficient, and go find the right kind of knowledge you need. And I think if I'm going to say anything on the pattern today is, as people, our lives becomes busy, family, children, work, you get home and you want to just sit in front of your couch and watch reruns of Friends because you're that mentally tired. And day in, day out, you just fall into this routine, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, work, go for activities, and you're not building yourself. But any success you're going to achieve starts with your mental state. You only become what you see. The question is, what are you seeing as a business owner? What are you seeing as an entrepreneur? What are you seeing as a parent? What are you seeing as a mom, as a dad, as a person? The power of the mind. And so I believe that is where we call it today. Do you have any wise words of wisdom from your Chinese? Uh,
I wouldn't say wise words of wisdom, but there's something that you just said now that struck me, and it's just you need to know when you hit your limit. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're failing. It just means that you've hit your limit. And when you need to extend beyond your limit, when you need to stretch, you need a coach. When you need to push yourself to go where you've not gone before, to do what you've not done before. It's good to have somebody in your corner at that point.
I
Now,
say, you see, sorry to interrupt you, something came across my mind. Back then, you go to university, 4-year degree, you sit in front of a professor, they push you, they stress you, you read textbooks, you do papers, these days there's a lot of online stuff. Just YouTube it, just YouTube it, just YouTube it. And YouTube is great. You learn the knowledge, but you don't get the coaching. Does that make sense? I feel there's a difference in when your mom, your dad, your teacher is saying, listen, this is why you're doing it this way. Somebody's standing with you and showing you, they're explaining to you the why. And I'm not knocking online training at all, right? I'm just saying that we need to accept more coaching in our lives as opposed to saying, oh, I it's like a student that graduates from medical school today, same knowledge with somebody of 20 years of experience. Of course, they have the same base knowledge, but it's not the same, you know, going
there's something called experience of the ancient.
experiential knowledge. It's like I'm standing in the kitchen and I'm cooking rice, and my daughter is saying to me, I can also cook rice. Okay, we both know, yes, it's going to be rice at the end of the day. The question is, technique, method, quality, some of these things,
Presentation.
presentation, some of these things comes by having a relationship, a connection with people to pour into you. So, um, my sage moment is over.
Thank you very much, Tayo, for that. Yeah, I think this is a good point to
To stop.
highlight and say, hey, dear entrepreneur, find the help you need because it's a long journey. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You can't do it by yourself. Get the help you need because we want you to be here and play the long game. We want you to be here for the long haul. So that's where we'll drop it tonight.